most of the news articles that are out there today, and they are taking them on because they are trying to buy up all the houses. Now, hedge funds are very interesting. They have enough money to actually take all of the houses on. So, this is what's happening across America right now, and it is predicted to get uh, extremely worse before it even gets better. Now, what is going on, however, there are a number of lawmakers that are out there who see what's happening, and they are moving quickly to try to keep the hedge funds from taking all of the houses. And again, we have over 3,000 houses a day uh, being foreclosed on. And in this article here, you can see that it says here that this is what's going on. They say institutions are expected to own about 40% of the single family rentals by 2030. And so our nation is quickly becoming a nation of debtors rather than people who own things. And again, this program is uh, Foreclosed Doors, and one that welcome you to Foreclosed Doors because, again, we are here to actually give a voice to the people who need help opening doors. And this is one of the things that we strive to do at Foreclosed Doors is to open doors of hope for you. And so we have a situation in America right now where people are running into crisis when it comes to houses. The houses are simply too expensive. And so there needs to be prayer incorporated in this, and there needs to be God involved in this situation. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to get on. As a minister, I want to, offer my word of advice that we do need to pray, and we need to be active in our participation of what's going on, become aware and become wise about what's going on. Jesus said in times like these, we need wisdom, right? Need to be wise as a serpent, but harmless as a dove. Now, again, I'm going to let you hear what it has to say. I'm going to just go ahead and play it. I hope maybe you can hear the reading of it. There it is there.
A cohort of lawmakers in Washington believe they found a partial solution to America's affordable housing crisis. Kick hedge funds out of the housing market. Earlier this month,
I don't know whether or not you can hear that.
Of Oregon introduced a bill in both houses of Congress that would ban hedge funds and all other investors from owning single-family homes. Hedge funds are firms that pool money from accredited investors with high net worths and institutional investors like pension funds. They invest this money using sophisticated and complex strategies with the goal of delivering high returns.
Okay, I don't know whether you can hear that, but I'm just going to read it to you. It just says that a cohort of lawmakers in Washington believe they found the partial solution to America's affordable housing crisis. And it talks about kick hedge funds out of the housing market. So this is one of the things they're looking towards doing. And earlier this month, it says Democrat Representative Adam Smith of Washington and Senator Jeff Merkley of Oregon introduced a bill in both houses of Congress that would ban hedge funds and all other investors from owning single family homes. And basically, this is to kick the big money people out so that the smaller people have less resources can come in and begin to own homes. And hedge funds are firms that pool their money from accredited investors with high net worths and institutional investors like pension funds. And they invest this money using sophisticated and complex strategies with the goal of delivering high returns. And so here it is from Seattle. We need to crack down on investors' greed and make housing more affordable for families, Smith wrote on the X after introducing the bill. So this is one of the things that they are doing. I'm going to let you hear also the goal, however, from what I've understood, the World Economic Forum and all of the people who are coming together, is that we will eventually own nothing. They will own everything. We will be renters, and they will own most of the resources of the world. And this is one of the goals, from what I understand, of the people who own the big money in the country, right? And this is, again, now this is biblical as well. It's quite biblical, because again, we see that there are great powers that are coming against the average person to own, their own home, and then also own their own life. And again, when you think about this is pretty surreal. It's almost like some science fiction movie or something that you've seen in the science fiction movies all around, right? And so we know that what we're looking at now is only going to get worse before it gets better. One of the things that I think that we can do, though, I think that people can at least hold out. Don't sell your home. You wouldn't want to sell your home at this particular time, because this is not the right time to do it. Because, obviously, if you sell your home, then you're going to have some large corporation to come in and steal it right from up under you. And then also there's also another aspect to this, is that banks are now helping in terms of closing people in when it comes down to farming. So, we're looking at farms, and we're also looking at homes. And once these large institutions get together, it's no telling where this will actually take us in terms of our freedom in this country. People have a desire to be free, but then we have all of these particular powerful organizations that are out there trying to take control of America. I want you to see this here. This one here is a report that was generated, and let me see if I can play this one for you here.
Imagine a time when owning a home becomes a relic of the past, a time when everyone is a renter and names like Wall Street and hedge funds become landlords. Does it sound like a dystopian novel? Would be the reality of our future housing market. The home is not just a place to live, but a symbol of independence and financial security. Yet, the reality of homeownership is shifting as institutional investors are increasingly buying up single-family homes. In the early months of 2022, a staggering 33% of U.S. homes on the market were purchased by investors. This trend leads to a pressing question. What will the future of housing look like? The current housing market is characterized by a high demand for single-family homes, driven by low mortgage rates and a mass exodus from cities. However, the supply hasn't kept up. This imbalance has led to increased competition, with institutional investors often outbidding average home buyers. These investors have the advantage of being able to pay cash and close deals quickly, making it difficult for everyday buyers to compete. On the other hand, the future housing market could be dominated by institutional investors. By 2030, institutions are expected to own a staggering 40% single-family rentals. This means that many people could become renters, not homeowners. Critics argue that this trend could lead to increased housing costs and disrupt communities. Yet, proponents believe that this could provide a solution to the current housing supply issue. There is no denying that the landscape of homeownership is changing. The traditional path of buying a home, building equity, and eventually owning it outright may become less common. Instead, the future could see us all becoming lifelong renters, with institutions becoming our landlords. In conclusion, the housing market is in a state of flux, with the trend of institutional investors purchasing single-family homes leading to a potential shift in home ownership. This trend could lead to a future where a portion of the population becomes renters, not homeowners. Whether this future is dystopian or utopian is a matter of perspective. What is certain is that the housing market, as we know it, is changing. And with these changes, so too will our perceptions of homeownership and what it means to have a place to call home.
Yeah, and so we are looking at that right now, almost like a return in history from home ownership, from actually serfdom to actually home ownership. Away from home ownership is what I mean to say. So as we are seeing this happen, it's very, very interesting times that we live in. And it's important that, we begin to kind of like inform people about what is going on, because there is something happening right now. And when it comes to it, what are we to do as Christians, as believers? I believe one of the things that we need to do is to take notice and to actually begin to pray and ask God's assistance in situations like this, right? Let's take a little look here. Okay, this talks about meeting your retirement goals, And it's important that many people realize that if the homes are gone, then that means that your retirement goals will change significantly, because most of the pensions are based upon the mortgages, and the mortgages are controlled by the ebb and flow of younger people in different generations coming in there, and they purchase the houses. And once they purchase the house, then that bank that has invested in the family actually gives a return on the investment, or gets a return on investment, which goes right back into the pension fund, and so on and so forth. And so we're seeing this as a possibility that there will be people who will be totally dependent upon the state to meet their retirement goals if this housing market goes away. So it's important, again, that maybe we need to get in contact with the legislators and to talk to them about, pushing bills that keep greedy hedge fund investors out of this market. And then another thing, we talked about this just the other day, about the higher price that people have to pay. There ought to be a cap on just how high or just how much they are able to ask for a house. And it ought to be based upon a fair market value, rather than a market value that's just exploded, just expanded because of the interest, the high interest rate, and then also because of we are right now in a situation where we are hit with inflation, right? So the inflation and the high interest rates and everything, all of that is going into making houses less affordable, and there needs to be a cap on that. And seemingly, if the government was concerned, and I don't know what's going on, but if the government is concerned or was concerned, then the government should get involved in it in terms of this way. But again, like it's saying in this article, there are at least two people that are interested in this. Let's go over here and look at this one here. This article that was from MoneyWise, and this article comes from Business Insider. Let's take a look at Business Insider and see what they have to say here. Okay, so in Business Insider, we see that it's saying here Democrats want to kick big investors out, which is something that is not common to even hear out of the market. I don't know why Democrats would want to do that, because, again, they rub shoulders with a lot of these people. But who knows? There may be some in there who actually really have a heart for the people. Let's look. It says Democrats want to ban hedge funds from buying houses in an effort to improve the housing affordability. And the bill was introduced to the Senate, and would require hedge funds to sell off the single family homes over the next 10 years. Okay. And it would also prohibit hedge funds from owning any single family homes at all. So, this would really help. It would definitely really help. The other side of it, again, is for families to be able to buy homes and want to buy homes. This is another thing. Most of the infrastructure now is going into building these cities, where these cities can be a one-stop shop for everyone. And, I know my son lives in the inner city, and they have this huge complex where he stays in. And in that huge complex, they have all of the things you need in that complex. And I think that's one of the experiences that they are now trying with these houses or these apartment complexes that they develop. And these apartment complexes that they're developing now are actually more appealing to the younger people. I don't see, with the lower birth rate, with the lower family incentives for people to get married, families are dwindling. It may be even more difficult to get people to actually want to buy a house. That's another thing that we need to look at too. But it says here that some streets aren't for Wall Street, and the housing affordability crisis drags on. Lawmakers are seeking to kick big investors out. Two bills proposed by Democrats in Congress this week are aimed to curb home ownership by big investors, which is a great thing, right? Now what we need to do is get younger people back wanting to get married and wanting to build families. And this is something that is becoming also more scarce. But it says here, the Senate, the hedge funds control the American Home Act of 2023, would force big investors to sell off their single family homes. But again, they are only to do this over the next 10 years. So again, let's pray that happens, because we need to maintain autonomy as a people, because if it doesn't happen, again, there are so many cascading effects to not owning a home. Because if everyone would become a renter, just like it said in the report that I had, if everyone becomes a renter, then your sense of freedom, your sense of, the American spirit of owning your own land, and then being your own person, self-sufficiency goes out the window. And we don't want that to do. So again, it talks about that it's time for Congress to put some guardrails around the family. And even here in Oklahoma, I know that the governor here in Oklahoma has been really pushing for more families to start getting married, because marriage, again, the marriage rates are dropping here. And the marriage rates are dropping all around. And there are some very political reasons why I believe that's happening. We don't really want to talk about it too much, but we want just letting you know that there are a lot of people who are choosing different lifestyles because it is more trendy. And this seems to be what the elite want, right? So anyway, that's the report for tonight. I wanted to stop by and talk to you and let you know again, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for God to step in and intercede in this. We don't know when. If this is an end time scenario, we don't know when the end is going to be. So let's always be vigilant and get out there and open doors. Pray that God opens doors in the future so that more and more people will, be able to walk in the freedom that Jesus Christ wants us to walk in. He did say that I came to give you life and that more abundantly. And he who the Son has set free is free indeed. And certainly you won't be free if they own everything and you own nothing and they expect you to be happy with it. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here, but remember to keep praying and keep the doors open and Jesus will come in. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. God bless.